Attention, passengers. This is your co-pilot speaking. Your pilot is black-minded, so you are not going blind and there is no power failure. You are merely experiencing the immense blackness of his proximity, and when you hear his voice, you and the cabin will get even darker than you are currently. We will be cruising at the speed equal to light because the one other thing that travels equally fast is darkness. Your loved ones awaiting your arrival may not recognize you at first sight. This is normal. Simply tell them about the pilot and they will understand. We will taxi to the runway now, so please buckle up and prepare for a high-speed departure. Thank you for choosing Jet Black Airways, where the phrase Jet Black is also a verb. We hope you keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than messenger. You see the title, and I'm going to tell you first that the opposite, I understand, is also a problem. It's just not the subject of this upload. But we're going to avoid this as BMPTs. First, let me give shouts out to those who came through. Brandon D for coming through on the Cash App yesterday. Passport OG. And I want to give extra shouts out to D Smith for coming through and G Downing. D Smith comes through with triple digits routinely, and I really appreciate that. And I just want to make sure that you are not overstretching yourself in order to support us. As long as this is easy for you, then sure, I appreciate as much as is easy for you. My employees do too. And what you have sent caught me up finally. So at this point, it's like when the business opens back after Ramadan, it's like it'll be starting off for the first time. There's nothing that we owe anymore. And this time it's starting on a new program that will decrease the likelihood that we will run at a deficit. And if so, it won't be more than what I could afford for a while. I'm going to, anyway, I want to state this about my former student that I had to drop. I'm trying to think of what to call him. But I guess I'll call him post-op because I know he got one of those operations for him to lose weight. Quite a few people here do that because they can't just change their diet and their exercise. That's too much. And I understand in Saudi, it is difficult. If you have sisters, it's really difficult. And if you have daughters and sisters, it's impossible. It's like having kids that never grow up. I hate to think of it that way, but that's what it's like. And that's what post-op had to deal with. His mother passed away and he is the only son in the house. So with his father traveling on business to financially support them, it's his job to logistically support his sisters. So he has to always drive here and there. And so he missed too much of the semester. We just got to halfway through. We're going to start our 10th week of a 17th week semester, a 17-week long semester. So tomorrow starts our 10th week. This guy missed 30% already. So in order to miss 30% of a semester, he had to miss the equivalent of about 3 weeks. Because it said, well, let's see, 30%. He missed 30% of 17 weeks by 9 weeks. He had missed 5 weeks out of 8. Now At the time I did the drop, he missed 5 weeks out of 8. He was gone more often than he was with us. He had literally a string of zeros for his grade. I'm not going to go into a whole lot about this, but I am going to tell you that what he had was a really stupid, blind, dumb optimism. After he already had failed, the same thing happened to him last semester, which I only found out when he showed up to try to get back in. When he showed up to try to get back in, he failed. And that's because the chair of the department told him, you're not getting back in. We already dropped you because we had to. You're failing. If you continued, you would have actually failed. Right now, you have a W on your transcript. But this happened before. So I looked at him and I said, nigga, this is your second time doing this. And you up here bothering me on my office time and bothering him? You're barking up the wrong tree. You need to go back to your sisters and tell them to sit down and wait for their errands until you are done studying. Because if you don't graduate, you don't get to get married and you can't take care of them as well. But you see, if they don't graduate, they get to sit at home and wait for someone to come knock on the door to marry them. And if they tell you to find them a husband, it's your job to go and look. So why are you sitting up here ruining your ability to take care of them in the long term because they want to run an errand right now? The law lets them drive anyway. Don't tell me you're not a man if they drive. You're not going to be a man if you're at home as a bum, not able to do anything because you got no qualifications. Do you think that you're going to be able to find a good job with no degree in an economy like this with your English? I had to light into him, tell him. So he already had a blind optimism. But when I first was talking to him in my office before we went to the chairman's office, he kept interrupting to tell me, inshallah, it'll be okay. And I got sick and tired of him interrupting. It got to a point I almost didn't want to hear Allah's name. And this was the first day of Ramadan. I didn't want to hear Allah's name come out of his mouth because you get sick and tired of these backwards Bedouins always hiding behind Allah when they don't do stuff they're supposed to do. And they really do have bad luck at times. They do. Their sisters don't care, don't understand, and don't care what they got to go through as men. The daughters don't, but you understand it because the daughters are kids. Their mothers barely care. The culture holds them back, and they only are going to progress when they start to violate their backwards culture. I'm sitting here in Saudi Arabia telling you this because the government already knows this and has told them, until the day you prioritize education over culture, you're not going anywhere. This is what the government has said, not me. They know this. Now, the government didn't say this in that exact sentence, but the government did pretty much say, if you don't get an education, you'll go nowhere, no matter what your excuses are. These are people chock full of excuses, but they're optimistic, stupidly so. Pessimism is bad, but it is better than optimism. I got to get on my wife about that. And there's one thing I do have to chew out about. It's this dumb optimism. I'll sit up and discuss plans in case something goes wrong, but inshallah, it'll be okay. How about you fuck the shuck up and let me finish my sentence? Interrupt me one more goddamn time, and you're going to be fighting that problem by yourself when it happens. You ain't going to be able to come to me, well, what do I do now? Suffer. That's what you do. And no, I'm not going to suffer this with you because it ain't my damn problem. I said I was going to plan ahead. Since I had to plan without you, I'm now going to enjoy without you. That's the only time I got to really be a jerk. And to be honest, she's gotten much better about listening. I've told her after we plan for the worst, go ahead and be optimistic. If you don't have a plan in case stuff goes bad, you don't need to be optimistic. It's about to go bad. Be pessimistic then. And if you make a good plan in case it goes bad and it just goes worse than for whatever you could have planned, you might as well go ahead and chalk that up to God don't like you. Or he was just going to slap you around this time. That's what it is. You're just going to have to admit that's what it is. We're dealing with this from the women as well. And that's why these women here have there where you all have the problem that they have. Feminism is sweeping through here, but I shouldn't say sweeping through, but it's creeping through. However, these women don't go through the same anxiety because they did not have a plan that they were going to go through a 304 phase and then circle back, double back to men that were going to take care of their kids by other men. This didn't happen to them. You guys have had to face this. You guys have had to face where they're now having meltdowns. Now, keep this in mind. They're going to tell you that they don't care, but you already know what happened to Mr. Holloman. They don't care so much. They're so unbothered that they got to make phone calls to get you investigated and to get you blocked from going places if your mom happens to fly there to meet you. They're so unbothered by this that they got to sit there in California, if they're from Africa, and make videos about him while he's in Africa. That's how unbothered they are. They're so unbothered that they have to sit up and try to stop you from being able to go to the places that are the best for you. That's how unbothered they are. It's not you. It's not, it is you that's got their attention. And it's not even you that has their attention because they want you per se, but because they want what you got. And they literally see you as targets that are morally acceptable to rob. So that's why it is that you're alone no matter what. And I want you guys who are by yourselves to understand that you're alone. Even when you're part of a couple, you will be alone in many cases. I was alone up until I married my current wife. And when I married my second ex-wife, I was not alone when I got to visit her, but I never got to live with her full time. Not her fault, not mine. It wasn't until I married my current wife that I was not really alone. Now, there are times I have to do things alone and figure things out alone. But I'm not alone because she doesn't care. My first wife felt like she was alone for material reasons. And I didn't know about her materialism until after we were married. That was when she finally confessed it. And I just told her, you're going to be crying until you get over that. If that's what it is, then I don't expect God to come through and give us any of what you want. Not now, not soon. And so in any case, I had to say to her that she had gone in with the dumb optimism too. That she was going to hide this materialism, and then we got married, and then she was going to be able to satisfy that materialism. That's not how God works. So when you do finally find someone, if you find a Western lady, you're still alone. And if you are not alone, because you're lucky like I finally am, and I thank Allah for it, you still will have to do things alone. You will have to plan alone. So I don't want you going into anything with a dumb optimism. I don't want you going into SYSBM or Passport Bros with a stupid optimism. That You're not going to have to, in steps and in degrees, build the life for yourself. You will have to. You you do need to prepare for people to try to scam you and for people to try to rob you, even. But the way that you offset this and you don't go into the complete opposite is that you plan like a pessimist, but you don't actually become a pessimist. You understand that when you plan as a pessimist, you will be surprised with reasons that you will find in order to be optimistic. You can be in between the two if you plan not only for the worst, but even for the best. If you're just going to have to learn dual planning. We do this all the time when we meet people we did not know before. We have a plan. Now, the plan is pretty simple, but it's a dual plan. If they treat me well, I will treat them well in kind. If they ill treat me, I will either cut them off or treat them badly in return. But I will not reward bad treatment with good treatment. Shuck that fit. That's a dual planning. You're not going into it pessimistically. You're going into it simply realistically. And that is how you have to approach many situations, especially those that involve other people. You got to treat them like other people. You must plan optimistically and pessimistically. And you may even have to plan somewhere in between, but you will have to do it. Even when you plan pessimistically, there will be times where not only will you be disappointed, I'm telling you here in Ramadan as a Muslim, God himself will disappoint you. He'll send whatever it takes to disappoint you when it comes to some things because he promised everybody both joy and pain. And they're going to get it. I planned when it came to opening up my business, I planned pessimistically. It got worse than what I planned. Now it's looking, I wouldn't say it's looking very far up, but now it's looking at least level. And I have to thank D. Smith for helping me catch up. Now, that is something I did not plan on. I did not plan for D. Smith to come through as generously as he did again and again. I mean it, man. I really thank you for that. I didn't plan for Brandon D to come through with his generosity. I did not expect for G. Downing to come through because he was also quite generous. I did not expect that. I've never expected MLR. So one of the reasons that I can be optimistic is you all who do support the message. Anonymous, i.e., AKA, she wants Jeremy Meeks, not you, has come through. He bought individual downloads off of Odyssey, and then he sent in support, one-time support for Buy Me a Coffee. And, y'all should go and check that out. I'm going to start putting on there some funnier stories about teaching and also tutorials about teaching. I'm going to place in there, I will more frequently discuss what it is to work here. And even if you didn't like teaching, how you can make it your thing, your stick. Some of you don't know that you can teach. You don't know, but I'm going to explain to you how you can make it your stick. If you are not technically inclined and you can't even understand the vocabulary, I'll tell you more simply how you can turn yourself into a teacher. There's room for more here. Not only that, but how you can be one of the better teachers. I don't get bad reviews from my students, except the lazy ones. The only students that have really truly complained were lazy, backwards bastards from places like really bedouin villages. It's the only time I've had one group of students, one class where they unanimously hated me, and they wound up fighting the teacher that came to replace me because he wasn't any nicer. He followed the rules too. They physically fought him. He got shipped to a place where it was just as bad. Those students fought him too, and then he lost his job. That was almost going to be me. It wasn't, and that's why I'm not a completely hopeless pessimist either. But you got to plan like a pessimist. I did. They didn't. And I thank my father for teaching that to me. It's not something my mom could have taught. She taught me plenty of things, but my dad taught me how to plan like a pessimist and then how to plan as an optimist, how to be prepared so that you don't have to actually walk around with a pessimistic view of life. The trick to not actually being forced into pessimism is to plan ahead pessimistically. Then you will be happy with the many things that actually don't go wrong. And you'll be shocked at times by how right many things do wind up working out. Life itself, luck tends to be better for people who plan for the worst. But one of the things I will say is this too, though. If you are SYSB man, and it's the last thing I'm going to tell you, and then I got to go. If you're an SYSB man or passport bro, or IBMOR, you're waiting on your passport to come so you can go down one of these paths. If you're of any one of the BMPT stripes or aspiring to be, this will be important. You are going to have to not rely on stupid people. You're going to have to refuse to rely on them when they come along. When some people come along and they just seem dumb and they don't plan pessimistically. I don't mean I don't mean they have a pessimistic outlook, but what I mean is that if they have a stupid optimism, man, we ain't gonna get caught. Ain't nothing bad gonna happen. When they come with that, understand this: you cannot rely on such people. Even if you're nice to them, you can't rely on them, and you can't tell them about the things in your life that are really that important. They will screw it up even if they think they're helping. If you knew who I was, if you knew my name and face, I couldn't tell you I had a business. Couldn't afford to. One of the reasons that I don't say exactly what it is that I don't want people coming with the wrong advice. I won't know who was telling, I wouldn't really know necessarily who knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. This is the internet after all. Anonymity works both ways. I try to use it as a scalpel to surgically remove problems for you or to enable you to do that for yourself. But it can just be a regular butcher knife too, a weapon. So when you do go down any of these important paths in life where you're going to start changing things, you can't rely on people that are stupid. You can't even rely on people that seem to have bad luck. Their information won't be that good. Their attempts to help you won't be successful. You can't rely on people to take you somewhere if their car is giving out on them. When you need a ride from them and it is important and you decided to go ahead and plan on them taking you somewhere, you don't have a backup plan, you are in trouble at that point, because when else would their car fail them? When it's important to you, that's when it's going to fail them. Mark my words, even for those of you that are not Muslim, when Ramadan is over, you're going to start noticing that a lot of tools and physical objects that we use will start to fail, malfunction, not work at all, or work against you. You'll see. Notice. I've been saying that the devil always picks on us more than other people. You cannot walk around with a blind optimism. You must simply take your time to find information out about where you would like to go and visit. And then after that, compare and contrast the places you visited to see where you can live and how you can live there. That's the way that you go. And where you do go, you try to get information about what actually is bad. You ask people, listen, tell me what is the bad stuff too, because I'm not trying to crap on anybody. I just need to know what to prepare for. So when I came here, I was prepared for people to be hypocrites. I didn't know that cheating was the major problem. I didn't know it was as bad as it was. I was kind of shocked. But I did know to be prepared to be surprised when I got here. Before I came, I knew, well, there's going to be a surprise. I just have to see what it is. And lo and behold, it was the cheating. That low down, hypocritical rat bastard cheating that they do, and then lying about it. Wallah, I didn't cheat. What I've learned is when an Arab says wallah, disbelieve him. Then what you do is you ask him to swear to God. See, if they're not thinking about it, they'll just swear to God all the time. Wallah, I swear. I swear to God. They'll do that. They'll say that without thinking. Then when you really want to know if they're lying, then you call them consciously out on it. They tell you something, say, swear to God. And then they won't. Because they're thinking about it and they realize, oh, no, I'm not going to. See, if I did it without thinking, maybe Allah won't punish that because I was stupid. I'm a human being. But now I'm thinking about it. No, I ain't going to do it. That's how you find out when they're telling the truth and when they're not. They voluntarily just volunteer. I know that's redundant, right? To swear to God without you asking, disbelieve them. Their tires will bust every morning on the way to school to make them late. Every morning. Their father will get sick in the hospital every week and he'll die 3 times in a semester if you allow it. Oh, yeah. It's crazy, right? But yeah, it'll happen like that. So I'm telling you all, I'm letting you know now, you cannot go down this road with a stupid optimism. Now, I'm not talking to those who are experienced. You already know. Passport OG can have a positive outlook in general, but he can't live in Eastern Asia with a stupid optimism. He has to prepare for things to go wrong. He has to prepare in case things go wrong. He has to have some backups. He's been doing this since before people knew the term passport bro or SYSBM. Now, these terms have been out for a while, but he's been doing this. He's been living where he's lived for longer than the existence of these terms. I've been here longer than the popularity of these terms. Ask him, can you live abroad with a stupid optimism? No. That's how that woman wound up going to Thailand broke. And it was passport bros that helped her out. And now what's she doing? Laying up with a lady fiance. She went with a blind optimism. No one helped her but passport bros. Trust and believe that fiance of hers wouldn't be her fiance if she had not gotten the help from passport bros. I know. Y'all done helped me out. But I know that y'all are doing it. I know not to abuse it. And I know not to just go somewhere with no plan. I'd be stupid for that. I go to get information, to learn. That's where I go. So in any case, I'm going to go ahead and in this one, but I'm going to tell you guys also that it's going to be worth it for you guys to go ahead and subscribe to Buy Me a Coffee. And y'all need to get on the Passport Bros app too. On the Buy Me a Coffee, I'm going to start to explain more about teaching abroad, specifically here. And I'm going to get information from those who have taught in Southeast Asia or Eastern Asia. I'm going to get information from them as well. So I will share that with you, allow you to make more of a informed decision for yourselves. Because technology is good, but I do believe that we're going to need as much skill as possible in technology and in education in order to be competitive. I believe that we're going to wind up needing some different combinations of both in order to be effective. As a matter of fact, I'm very sure about that. I'm now making more than I've ever made as a teacher. I'm not rich, don't get me wrong, but I am making more than I've ever made as a teacher. In order for me to do my job right now and to keep it, I have to use technology frequently. And I have to be able to back things up as well for when they don't work. We have whiteboards in the classroom, electronic whiteboards, I3. They don't work. I mean, they do work, but mine doesn't in my classroom. I had to have a backup. Know what that backup is? The same platform that they use for online education. So I set up an online class. My students still have to come to the class to be more present, but I also said to them, bring your tablets, bring your laptops. Here's the link. So this way I can show you what I'm telling you instead of having to go around each one of you and point to the page. Since this way I can still show you all everything at the same time that I wanted to show y'all. I just have a different means of doing it. I know how to do it on StreamYard if needed, but I'm not going to use this account for that, though. I'd be stupid. So that's going to be coming more, but you're going to need to get that really substantially useful information. You're going to need to go there. Now, the Passport Bros app, I might make some of those same videos. I might make them a little bit less per video. Some of them, not all, some. I might make them a bit less per video if you get on the Passport Bros app. But and what I may do is I may go ahead and think I'll offer two options for subscription on the Passport Bros app. One half as much as the other, because you may decide to pay for one of the user levels on Passport Bros. They start at 5. You might decide to get that one. And so because, if you do that, then I may turn around and go ahead and make a tier available for just 5. Some of the information will be available, some will not. But if I do, that's going to be more so the funny stuff that happens as part of the job. That might be available to those who just, make a donation on Buy Me a Coffee, or who do the same on the Passport Bros app. But for those that actually subscribe and pay, they're going to get access to actual to learn certain skills that you need in order to do this job. I'm going to list what the platform is. Tell you all about the platform and what you should look at in terms of how to use it, how much time you should give yourself to learn it on the job, things like that. That's coming up for them. So I want to thank all of my supporters and subscribers here and on the other 2 platforms. You need to go to my About section or the Community tab and get the link to the Passport Bros app and start an account if you haven't already. You cannot look at and that's not my app, by the way. That's BMT's. I'm just telling you it's a good one to have. It takes a little while for me to download from home, but it does work better now. It goes fairly quickly. But I'm telling you guys that you need that one, because that is where people from the outside can't look at your post. It's not possible. You don't even have that option. You can't take a post and make it public so anyone on or not on Facebook can see it. You don't have the option. For people to see what you posted, they need to have an account on there. That's it. End of. That's what's needed. So I'm telling you, go ahead and start it. Get you one. I put a link up. Yes, I'll probably get a few points on there if you go through my link. But it's not really, it's not going to make me money. It's not, 1,000 of you aren't going to do it in order for me to make money off of that. But you still need to get on that app. You really do. Yeah, I don't know what y'all waiting for, why y'all playing. I'm Black Mind on there. So if you do join and you're looking for Black Mind, it's just spelled as Black Mind with no space. That's all. Y'all need to get on there, though. If you want to add me, send me a message. Let me know who you are. And I'll add you as a friend. There's some groups you can join. There are see what else? There are I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Yeah. There are different levels. So you can start at 5 a month, and that actually gets you a good bit of stuff. Then it goes up to 25, and it gets you access to other groups and things like that. So, and the more of you that use it, the faster the access will be, actually, for me, even at home. So go ahead and get started and quit playing around. I hope that what I've said has been a benefit. And I thank you all from the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind. Black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day. And thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.